What if your car could just drive itself? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But the dream of a self-driving car has a history that is going to totally surprise you. Today, we are diving deep into the incredible story of how this futuristic idea went from a fantasy that's over a century old to something that's actually happening on our roads right now. Okay, so let me ask you something. When you picture a self-driving car, what year pops into your head? 2020? Maybe 2000 if you're being generous? Well, whatever you're thinking, hold that thought. Because the real answer is probably much, much older than you think. See, our story doesn't start with high-tech computers and fancy sensors. Nope, it starts with pure imagination. For a really long time, the self-driving car was just that, a dream, an idea that to most people seemed completely and utterly impossible. And believe it or not, we're talking about a concept that is nearly 100 years old. You can actually trace this back to the 1925 World's Fair. There was this exhibit, the American Wonder, that showed a radio-controlled car just navigating the streets of New York City. It completely sparked the public's imagination and, for the first time, really asked the question, hey, what if we didn't need the driver at all? And this timeline just lays it all out. It shows you what a long journey this has been. It all started in the 1920s with those first kind of wild ideas. Then you jump forward to the 1960s, and that's when we saw the first real experiments. I mean, they were clunky, basically remote controlled, but it was a start. And all of that leads us right here to today, where this once impossible idea is actually becoming a reality. So how in the world did we get from a simple dream to an actual moving machine? Well, those first real steps, they were all about moving from pure imagination to a much simpler but absolutely crucial concept: remote control. Now, what's really interesting here is that these cars weren't autonomous in the way we think of them. Not at all. They were, for all intents and purposes, giant remote control toys. Engineers could control them from a distance, which proved a vehicle could be operated without a person physically inside. It was a huge first step, but still, a whole world away from a car that could actually think for itself. All right, this next part is where the real magic begins. The next giant leap forward was all about giving the car senses. We're moving from a simple machine to a complex system that can see, process, and react to the world all around it. And this comparison just illustrates the breakthrough perfectly. Engineers basically copied human perception. So instead of our eyes, ears, and brain, the car got its own set of cameras, radar, and a super powerful onboard computer. Let's break down what each of these things actually does. So first up, you've got the cameras. These are quite literally the eyes of the car. They're what give it the visual information it needs to see all the important stuff, lane markings, traffic signs, pedestrians, other cars, all of it. But just seeing things isn't always enough, right? That's where radar comes in. Think of it as another sense. It sends out radio waves to measure the exact distance and speed of other objects. And this is absolutely critical for avoiding collisions, especially in situations where cameras might have a hard time, like in really heavy fog or even total darkness. So you've got this constant, super fast cycle happening over and over. First, the car senses the world with its cameras and radar. Second, the onboard computer thinks, it processes all that incoming data and makes a decision. And third, it acts by controlling the steering, the gas, and the brakes. Sense, think, act. It's a loop that repeats itself hundreds of times every single second. Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about what this technology can actually do today. We're not in the world of theory or giant remote control cars anymore. This is what's happening on our roads right now. The most advanced systems out there today can handle a pretty impressive list of tasks. I mean, on the highway, they can manage your speed and keep you centered in your lane for hundreds of miles, which makes long trips way less tiring. In the city, they can spot and react to people, cyclists, and stoplights. And yeah, some of them can even nail that dreaded parallel parking job all by themselves. But, and this is a really important but, we have to remember that this is still a developing technology. The capabilities are amazing, for sure, but scientists and engineers are out there every single day testing, refining, and improving these systems so they can handle all the crazy, unpredictable stuff that happens in the real world. Now, beyond all the cool tech and the wizardry of navigation, there is one single principle that is more important than anything else. It's the car's number one job. The single most important rule of the road. A self-driving car has to learn and obey thousands of rules. It has to be programmed to stop at every single red light. It needs to know to slow down for a deer that might be crossing the road. And above all else, it has to operate with one core mission: protect everyone, whether they're inside the car or outside of it. And this really just says it all. The prime directive, the absolute core of all its decision-making, the thing that's programmed into these systems above everything else, is safety. It is the non-negotiable foundation that this entire technology is being built on. So there you have it. We've seen this incredible idea go from a simple dream to a remote control toy, all the way to the intelligent cars we're starting to see on the road today. That dream is 100 years old, and it leaves us with one final really exciting question. What on earth will the next 100 years bring?
Hey everyone, welcome back. You have been doing such a good job learning all about self-driving cars. So I thought, let's have a little fun. It's time for a challenge to see what you remember. You guessed it, it's quiz time. Get your thinking caps on because it's time to show off what you know. Are you ready? Okay, let's go.
All right, first question is up. What do self-driving cars use as their special sensors? Is it A, cameras, B, pancakes, or C, radar? Pancakes, that's a silly one. Can you imagine a car that runs on breakfast? Go ahead and think about your answer. Okay, what do you think? Which one of those things helps the car, see everything on the road? Got your answer? Lock it in. And the answer is both A and C. That's right. Self-driving cars use cameras and radar to figure out what's going on around them. Awesome job if you got that one.
Okay, on to question number 2. When do you think people first started dreaming up the idea of self-driving cars? Was it A, just yesterday, B, almost 100 years ago, or C, sometime way off in the future? What do you think? Ooh, this is a tricky one. It might surprise you. Have you picked your answer? Let's see if you're right.
It's B, almost 100 years ago. Wow, isn't that wild? People were dreaming about cars that could drive themselves a super, super long time ago. So cool. Okay, here we go, our last question. And this one is really, really important. What is the most important job of a self-driving car? Is it A, to look super cool, B, to go really, really fast, or C, to keep everyone safe? Think hard about this one. Out of everything a car does, what is the one thing that matters more than anything else? Yes, of course, it's C. Keeping everyone safe is the #1 most important job for any car, especially a smart one that drives itself. You guys are so smart. Amazing work. You did it! High fives all around. Thanks for playing our little game today. If you had a good time and learned something new and awesome, we'd love it if you hit that like button, subscribe so you can join us for our next adventure, and maybe even share this with a friend who thinks cars are cool too. And always remember, the future is super bright, and it just might drive itself. Bye! See you next time!